This is SSPTV News, brought to you by Samsung Productions and the Hazleton Standard Speaker.
The principal at a local Catholic school explains how they're getting through the pandemic next. Hello everyone, and thanks for watching. I'm Ken Carr with your local information. Our Janine Lassant gets another update from a local school today as we learn about the hard work being done by students, parents, and staff to keep in-person learning going at Holy Family Academy in Hazleton. Here's Janine's interview with HFA Principal Jason Tribbett.
Wanted to touch base with you, see how we're doing with in-person learning. One of the few schools in the greater Hazleton area that has actually been in-person learning since the start of the school year.
We have been. We started right off the bat in the beginning of the year. So far, knock on wood, we've been very fortunate. We had two time frames right after Thanksgiving and Christmas where we went virtual for 1 week, just as a precaution with holiday gatherings. But for the most part, our students have been fantastic, following all our protocols. Our staff has been great, and our families have been tremendously supportive of everything that we've been doing. So, I think we've been very fortunate so far.
I'm sure there have been challenges with teachers trying to teach and, students trying to learn. Mm-hmm. What are some of the difficulties that your school has faced?
At the end of last year, when we were forced to go virtual, and everybody was, with the pandemic, I think it unfortunately set some kids back. We did offer virtual instruction right from the get-go, which I think helped somewhat. But getting the students back in person, not only academically, but it helps them socially. And I think that is something that we're forgetting about, the students' social development and mental health. And having them here in person gives them some, normality of everything that's going on. And, our teachers have been great with providing lessons, that kind of spilled in from last year, to start this year to get the kids ramped up and ready to go. And we've been full steam ahead. We've been going, like I said, since the beginning of the year. And, our students have been doing fantastic with our, even when we went virtual, they've been doing fantastic. And now in person, I have really no complaints from our staff standpoint, our student standpoint, and from our families.
When there is an isolated case, or how have you been handling those cases?
Well, the diocese had some tremendous guidelines for us to start the year. They established a health and safety committee with staff, administrators, teachers, physicians, and they had set that right from the get-go. And we've been adjusting as things have changed because, as you know, every week there's something new that comes out, and we've been constantly adjusting and adapting our protocols. But in the case of somebody testing positive, we go through our process with the Department of Health to see if anybody else that had close contact that would also need to quarantine. Fortunately, we've had not seen any spread within our school. We've had a few positive cases, but nothing that started within the school or spread within the school. So it came from outside of the school, at home. So the family or the student, the staff member would also need to quarantine if they have tested positive. Anybody with direct contact would also have to quarantine for 10 days. If a family member tests positive, the student would then have to stay home for potentially 10 to 20 days. It's 20 days if they have continued contact with the household member. If they're completely isolated from the family member, it would be only 10 days. But, as you know, it's hard if you're in the same household to completely isolate yourself. So typically we've seen a 20-day quarantine when that has happened within a positive case within the household. We also have travel restrictions in place. So if any student leaves the state, they have to quarantine for 10 days. And unlike the Department of Health, we do not allow a negative test to return. They have to quarantine for the 10 days if they travel outside the state.
We hope and keep our fingers crossed that in September we'll be back to some normalcy with the vaccine out. Till that time, what is your message to your students, to your faculty, to parents?
Continue doing what we're doing. I think everybody is taking this seriously. They're following our protocols, our precautions. because they know the importance of being here in person. They may not agree with some of the things that we're doing or have to do for their students, but they're following it because they know the importance of being here in person, and they know just one little case or slip up could potentially cause us to go completely virtual if something happens within the school. So everybody's taking this seriously. We have pre-K students all the way up to 8th grade that are following all these protocols and doing it very well. I can't describe to you how impressed I am with especially our younger students, those pre-K, kindergarten, first grade students that are wearing their mask every day. They're keeping a safe distance when they're walking in the hall. I was so unsure when we started the year how this was going to go, but seeing everything that they've done and they're able to accomplish with the help of our staff, teaching them and helping them along the way, we've been very, very fortunate.
Today's news feature is brought to you by Feisner's Ford in Freeland, who is celebrating 75 years in business. Give them a call at 570-636-3920, or you can log on to feisnersford.com.
Time now for weather on SSPTV News.
Here's our forecast from the National Weather Service. On Thursday, it's mostly cloudy with a high in the 20s. Thursday night, a slight chance of snow showers, cloudy with a low in the teens. Friday is mostly cloudy with a high in the 20s. Friday night, mostly cloudy with a low near 10. Saturday, we have a chance of snow showers after 1 p.m. It will be mostly cloudy with a high in the 20s. Saturday night, snow showers are likely. It will be cloudy with a low in the teens. Sunday is mostly cloudy with a high near 30. And Sunday night, mostly cloudy with a low around 10 degrees. The Monomoy area girls basketball team is keeping their grip on first place in Division III of the Schuylkill League. As you can see on the SSPTV standard speaker scoreboard, they beat Shenandoah Valley and are 8-0 in league play. Allison Babinski scored 16 points for the Lady Bears. Ashley Plebin led Marion with 15 points in their win over Weatherly. Emma Hope and Serena Jones both had double-doubles for Tamaqua in their victory, and Cameron Magel put up 22 points in North Schuylkill's win. In boys basketball, Schuylkill Haven beat Tamaqua. Coming up in sports, a story with the Hazleton Area High School wrestling team, and next we interview a group of local Girl Scouts about how they're helping the community.
LVHN Hazleton will present a free heart health virtual event on Thursday, February 11th at 5 p.m. You can watch the event on the Lehigh Valley Hospital Hazleton Facebook page. SSPTV News would like to send sincere condolences to the family and friends of these recently departed. Agnes L. Sipple, age 93 of Hazleton, the Frank J. Bonham Funeral Home will announce their arrangements. David R. Flatovich, age 67 of Hazleton, services will be held at the convenience of the family under the Joseph A. Moran Funeral Home. Ethel C. Gantz, age 99 of Drums, a funeral service will be held on Friday at 11 a.m. at the Harmon Funeral Home in Drums. Friends may call Friday from 10 to 11 a.m. at the funeral home. Emerson N. Kolb Jr., age 89 of Weatherly, services will be held at a later date under the Philip J. Jeffries Funeral Home. Eileen Marnignac, age 78 of West Hazleton, services will be private. Gail R. Messiak, age 77, the Frank J. Bonham Funeral Home will announce their arrangements. Shirley Nitka, age 77 of Calairs, Mass will be held on Saturday at 10 a.m. at Church of All Saints. The McNulty Funeral Home is in charge of arrangements. Amelia M. Rodzewicz, age 83 of Freeland, Mass will be held on Friday at 11 a.m. at St. Anne's Church. Friends may call Friday from 10 to 11 a.m. at the church. The McNulty Funeral Home is in charge of arrangements. Claire M. Sokolovsky, age 98 of West Hazleton, a funeral service will be held on Tuesday at the Calvary Cemetery. The Fierro Funeral Home is in charge of arrangements. Anne-Marie T. Yorai of Hazleton, who passed away on February 2nd. The Fierro Funeral Home is in charge of arrangements. Today's social and obituary report is brought to you by Harmon Funeral Homes and Crematory. Call 570-788-0977 or go to harmonfuneral.com.